Deep within the untouched rainforests of Sulawesi, hidden among thick canopies and winding rivers, lives a creature so secretive that many Indonesians have never seen it with their own eyes. It's small, it's shy, and it's unlike any buffalo you've ever imagined. Meet the Anoa, Indonesia's mysterious dwarf buffalo, a rare species found nowhere else on Earth, clinging to survival on one of the most unique islands in the world. For centuries, the Anoa has walked these forests, avoiding human eyes, disappearing into the shadows at the slightest sound. Scientists know so little about them that, even today, they remain one of the least studied wild cattle species on the planet. But here's the shocking truth. With fewer than 5,000 left in the wild, the Anoa is quietly racing toward extinction, and most people have never even heard its name. Today we uncover the secrets of Sulawesi's hidden treasure, its fragile survival, and why this tiny buffalo could hold the key to protecting one of Indonesia's most precious ecosystems. Meet the Anoa. At first glance, you might mistake the Anoa for a young water buffalo, but take a closer look, and you'll realize this is no ordinary bovine. Standing just 70 to 106 centimeters tall, barely reaching an adult's chest, the Anoa is the smallest wild buffalo in the world. Weighing between 150 to 300 kilograms, it's compact, agile, and perfectly adapted to Sulawesi's rugged rainforests. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Sulawesi is home to two varied species of Anoa. 1. The lowland Anoa, Bubalus depressicornis. Found in the tropical lowland forests and swampy areas, this species has a slightly larger body. Short, sharp horns measuring 20 to 30 centimeters. Smoother, darker coats to blend into shadowy wetlands. 2. The mountain Anoa, Bubalus quarlisi. Thriving in the cooler, higher-altitude forests of central Sulawesi, the mountain species is smaller and stockier than its lowland cousin. Covered in thicker fur for warmth in misty highlands, possessing slightly straighter horns, usually shorter than 20 centimeters. Despite their differences, both species share remarkable adaptations. Their short legs and compact bodies help them move quietly through dense forests, while their sharp horns act as defense against predators, and occasionally against each other during mating season. Anoas are covered in short, velvety hair that ranges from dark brown to black, and their faces often carry distinctive white markings on the muzzle and around the eyes, giving each individual a unique appearance. Unlike domestic buffalo, Anoas are incredibly shy. The moment they sense humans, they retreat deeper into the forest, disappearing into Sulawesi's green labyrinth. Even locals living near their habitats may never see one in their lifetime. And perhaps most fascinating of all, these buffalo exist nowhere else on Earth. They are found only on the island of Sulawesi and a few nearby islets, making them one of Indonesia's most unique and irreplaceable species. But what does life look like for this rare, elusive creature deep inside the rainforest? Life in the shadows. To understand the Anoa, you have to follow it into the shadows. Unlike other buffalo species that gather in herds on open plains, the Anoa lives a life of seclusion. These animals are solitary by nature, preferring to roam alone through Sulawesi's dense rainforests. Even researchers studying them for decades have rarely seen one in the wild. So what does an Anoa's day look like? It starts at dawn, when the forest canopy still glows in soft golden light. The Anoa emerges quietly, carefully treading through mud and fallen leaves. With short, powerful legs and compact bodies, they move with surprising grace, almost soundless among the tangled vegetation. Diet and feeding habits. Anoas are herbivores, feeding on over 30 different plant species native to Sulawesi. Their diet includes young leaves and tender shoots, wild grasses and ferns, fruits fallen from the forest canopy, bark and aquatic plants near river edges. They often browse along rivers, using their prehensile lips to strip leaves and tug at soft vegetation. Unlike large water buffalo, they rarely graze openly, preferring to stay hidden under thick cover while feeding. Shy and elusive behavior. Anoas are extremely cautious animals. At the slightest sound of human activity, footsteps, snapping branches, distant voices, they vanish into the forest within seconds. This elusive nature makes them incredibly difficult to study. Researchers depend heavily on camera traps to record their movements, dung analysis to study diet and genetics, footprint tracking by local guides who know the forest better than anyone. Because of this, scientists still know surprisingly little about their breeding cycles, lifespan, and social dynamics. Mud baths and cooling off. During hotter hours, Anoas spend time wallowing in muddy pools or bathing in shallow rivers. This behavior helps regulate body temperature, protect against insects and parasites, mark territory with their scent. But even these behaviors are rarely witnessed directly. Most observations come from studying mud wallows and hoof prints rather than seeing the animals themselves. This mysterious lifestyle has earned the Anoa a reputation as one of Indonesia's most enigmatic mammals. They leave behind only faint traces, footsteps, broken branches, or a ripple in a hidden forest pool. To know the Anoa, you do not chase it. You follow its silence. But not all Anoas live in the same kind of environment. Legends and local beliefs. For the people of Sulawesi, the Anoa is more than just an animal. It's a symbol woven into tradition, myth, and survival. For generations, local communities have lived side by side with these mysterious dwarf buffaloes, relying on the same rivers, forests, and fertile valleys. Over time, the Anoa has found its way into folklore, rituals, and cultural identity. The guardian of the forest. Among some indigenous groups, the Anoa is believed to be a guardian spirit of the rainforest. Its elusive nature, quiet movements, and ability to vanish into the trees earned it a mystical reputation. Local myths describe the Anoa as a messenger between humans and the spirit world, a creature that carries the energy of the forest and warns people of natural disasters or bad omens. Ceremonial importance. In certain highland traditions, Anoas once played a role in ritual ceremonies. During special events like weddings, harvest festivals, or tribal agreements, the sacrifice of an Anoa symbolized strength, unity, and respect for the forest's spirits. However, as conservation awareness grows, many communities have moved away from these practices, replacing ceremonial hunts with symbolic offerings instead. Hunting traditions and shifting perspectives. Historically, Anoas were hunted, not just for food, but also for their horns and hides, which were used to craft tools, weapons, and ornaments. But today, attitudes are changing. Many villages near Ujung Pandang and Lor Lindu have partnered with conservation groups to protect the Anoa, recognizing it as a cultural heritage species unique to Sulawesi. Local schools now teach children about the Anoa's ecological importance, and ecotourism programs encourage communities to celebrate the species rather than exploit it. For the people of Sulawesi, the Anoa carries more than just ancient myths. It carries the soul of the island. Protecting it means protecting culture, identity, and history itself. But the Anoa's importance goes beyond tradition. This tiny buffalo plays a critical role in keeping Sulawesi's ecosystems balanced, and losing it would create ripples across the entire rainforest. Why the Anoa matters. When we talk about endangered animals, it's easy to focus on their rarity. But the Anoa isn't just special because it's rare. It's special because the entire Sulawesi ecosystem depends on it. A forest gardener. As a herbivore, the Anoa plays a critical role in shaping the rainforest. By feeding on grasses, leaves, and young shoots, it prevents certain fast-growing plants from dominating, creates open spaces that allow new vegetation to flourish, helps maintain a balanced food web for insects, birds, and smaller mammals. Its selective browsing encourages plant diversity, which supports hundreds of other species that share the same forest. A seed disperser. The Anoa also acts as a natural gardener. By eating fruits and later depositing seeds across the forest, it spreads plant species far from where they first grew. Without Anoas, many rainforest plants would struggle to survive, and the entire landscape would slowly change. A keystone species. Ecologists consider the Anoa a keystone species. This means its presence or absence has a huge impact on the surrounding ecosystem. If Anoas disappeared, certain fast-growing plants would overwhelm the forest floor. Food sources for smaller herbivores would diminish. Predators would struggle as prey populations shift. Overall biodiversity would decline, leading to a weaker ecosystem. A living relic. Beyond ecology, the Anoa is a living link to Indonesia's natural history. These dwarf buffaloes are direct descendants of ancient wild cattle that once roamed Southeast Asia. Protecting them means preserving millions of years of evolution unique to Sulawesi. Saving the Anoa isn't just about saving a single species. It's about protecting an entire ecosystem. The rivers, trees, birds, insects, and every living thing that depends on this balance. But time is running out. Because despite its importance, the Anoa faces serious threats that are pushing it toward extinction. Threats to survival. For thousands of years, the Anoa has thrived in Sulawesi's forests. But today, its survival is under siege. With fewer than 5,000 Anoas remaining in the wild, and some experts warning the number may be much lower, this shy dwarf buffalo now faces a perfect storm of threats. 1. Habitat loss. Sulawesi's forests are disappearing fast. Deforestation caused by logging, agriculture, and palm oil plantations has destroyed huge portions of the Anoa's natural home. Vast areas of lowland rainforest, the Anoa's primary habitat, have been cleared for farming and settlements. Roads built deep into forests fragment populations, isolating Anoas and reducing their access to food and mates. Each hectare lost is another piece of the Anoa's survival puzzle gone forever. 2. Hunting and poaching. Historically, local communities hunted Anoas for meat, hides, and horns. While commercial hunting is now illegal, poaching still continues in remote areas due to traditional ceremonies that once used Anoas as ritual sacrifices, illegal bushmeat trade driven by local markets, demand for horns and hides used as ornaments or tools. With Anoas living in small, scattered groups, even losing a handful each year has devastating consequences. Because the Anoa population is now so fragmented, small groups are becoming isolated. This leads to reduced genetic diversity, lower fertility rates, increased vulnerability to diseases. Without genetic exchange between groups, the species risks becoming too weak to adapt to future environmental changes. Changing weather patterns are reshaping Sulawesi's ecosystems. Longer dry seasons reduce food availability. Heavier rains flood lowland habitats. Rising temperatures stress Anoas, forcing them to retreat into smaller, less suitable areas. Climate change doesn't just threaten the Anoa directly, it also amplifies every other danger they face. As human settlements expand into forest edges, Anoas are being pushed closer to villages. Sometimes they wander into crop fields searching for food and are trapped, hunted, or chased away. This growing conflict makes coexistence increasingly difficult, especially in lowland areas. The Anoa is running out of space, running out of time, and unless we act now, we could lose this ancient species forever. But there is hope. In the next section, we'll discover how conservationists, local communities, and scientists are fighting back, and what's being done to save the Anoa before it disappears. Conservation efforts. The Anoa may be one of the world's rarest buffaloes, but it's not too late to save it. Across Sulawesi, a growing network of conservationists, scientists, local communities, and international organizations are working tirelessly to ensure this ancient species survives for future generations. Protecting the forests. At the heart of Anoa conservation is habitat protection. Indonesia has established several protected areas and national parks where Anoas still roam, including Lowland National Park. Bogani Nani Wartabone National Park, Gorontalo and Central Sulawesi reserves. These parks provide safe spaces where Anoas can feed, breed, and live free from hunting and habitat destruction. Yayasan Badak Indonesia, YABI, dan WWF Indonesia. Organizations like YABI and WWF Indonesia are leading the fight to save the Anoa. Their efforts include installing camera traps to monitor population numbers and behavior, removing snares and illegal traps set by poachers, restoring degraded forests to expand safe feeding grounds, training rangers to patrol remote areas and stop illegal activities. These efforts have already helped stabilize some local Anoa populations. Local communities are key to the Anoa's survival. Conservation groups are teaching villages near Anoa habitats about the species' importance, offering ecotourism opportunities that provide income without hunting, encouraging sustainable farming practices to reduce deforestation, supporting alternative livelihoods so fewer families rely on forest exploitation. By involving people who share the land with the Anoa, conservationists are turning former hunters into protectors. Scientific research and genetic protection. Because the Anoa population is fragmented, scientists are studying genetic diversity through DNA analysis, mapping migration corridors to reconnect isolated groups, evaluating potential sites for second populations to reduce extinction risks. The goal is not just to protect the Anoa today, but to secure its future for generations to come. Each calf captured on a camera trap, each forest restored, each poacher turned into a guardian. These are small victories, but together, they create hope. However, conservation is a race against time, and winning this race requires all of us. The story of the Anoa is still being written, and together, we can choose an ending filled with hope, harmony, and life. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Sulawesi's wild heart. If you believe this story should be told, like this video, subscribe to Primal Indo Nature, and share it with someone who cares about our planet's future. Because protecting the wild starts with you.